History like you've never seen it before. Watch to the end for 5 mind-blowing facts. Sophia Loren beside a Mercedes-Benz 300 SL. Retro sheen meets modern desire, chrome, curves, and star power. The first NASA launch, Cape Canaveral, July 1950, space dreams clearing the tower. Actress Marpessa poses in 1980, a snapshot built to outlast fashion. The circular bridge on Mount Lowe, beauty that unsettles as it amazes. Engineering turned attraction. New York children licking blocks of ice in a heat wave, 1911, the toughest ice cream in town. Stonehenge under repair, 1919, the ancient gets a modern brace, restoration continues into the 1960s. The Morrison Air Raid Shelter offered free protection to the poorest, 1941, safety in its most stripped down form. British soldiers enjoy a hot bath during World War II, steam that feels like mercy. A homing pigeon released from a tank in France, 1918, hope with wings when wires fail. 1958, a spherical roundhouse by Junior Ludovici floats down the Thames, modular answers to crowded cities. A father faints meeting his newborn triplets, New York, 1946, joy and shock are close relatives. Operation Crossroads, second nuclear test at Bikini Atoll. Water rises a kilometer wide and taller still. The lagoon never forgets. Poker players once wore masks to hide tells. Poker face wasn't a metaphor. A rust-bitten tower hauled from the seabed. War junk reborn as memorial. An era pressed into iron. John F. Kennedy, 1963. The last bright frame in the motorcade. History pausing in an open car. Sophia Loren in Venice, 1955. A dress, a smile. The instant film turns a woman into an emblem. Halloween in the 1930s. Less candy, more uncanny. Prohibition cane flask, United States, 1922. When rules tighten, ingenuity slips through. Bertha Benz's first long-distance drive, 1886. 100 kilometers without fuel stops. The spark that cranked an industry alive. Thomas Edison's electric car attempts a 1,000-mile endurance run on September 17th. Ronald Reagan modeling, 1940. Upright, unguarded. A side hustle that reads like foreshadowing. A nurse weighs a baby, North Uist, Scotland, 1959. An ordinary checkup turned into a tender little drama. Marilyn Monroe queues for a hot dog, 1957. Even icons grab a quick bite. Glamour doesn't cancel hunger. Graham, Kentucky, 1953. Mayor Edgar V. Van Hoos offers 25 cents a rat. Civic pride meets pest control in the town square. Barry Peep eating ice cream while perched on a naval mine, 1940. Wartime fun with a pulse of danger. Turkish bar taxis. Basket carriers hired to ferry the drunk home, 1960s. Public transport with a handle. A fisherman hauls home a colossal sea bass, 1903. Dinner and legend in the same frame. Anita Ekberg on a bicycle, 1956. A casual ride elevated to a postcard by pure presence. A bomber prepped with several hundred kilos of ordnance. 1943, machines and crews pushed beyond human limits. Peter Freuchen and Dagmar, Denmark, 1947. The polar explorer author cut like a legend from ice. Betty Brosmer, An Italian Daydream. An icon before Photoshop. Beauty built on discipline, not filters. World War II women paint stockings when nylon goes to the front lines. 1940. Fashion improvises under rationing. A father with a large family. 1901. Every smile accounted for. Former King Peter of Yugoslavia and Prince Alexander in suits like spacesuits. December 31st, 1953. Science fiction as exhibition. Goliath Grouper and a dentist, Florida, 1964. Even sea giants get their checkups. A businessman and his secretary working through a Berlin heatwave, 1926. No AC, only humor. London's smallest shop, 1910s. 1.2 square meters of cobbler's craft at 3 to 4 Bateman's, room for exactly one life. Children sleeping in underground tunnels, 1945. Safety traded for darkness and concrete. August 26, 1918. Officers pose with canaries balanced on a cigar. Gallows humor in the Great War's final months. Miss America gets her hair set, 1926. Even a crown needs maintenance. Child seat on the front of a bicycle, Amsterdam, 1925. Traffic safety as it once was. A builder hauls a sack along a beam, 70 stories up, Wall Street, 1930. Work no one would wish on anyone. Elzel Koch lived in this house for 105 years. Born here in 1918. 4 walls turned fortress. Likely the only photo of 9 European kings together. Windsor, May 20th, 1910. Drawn by the funeral of Edward VII. Asylums once used restraints like these. Material for a horror film, except it was real life. Professor Marodi Tring tests a stair-climbing wheelchair. Queen Mary College, London, November 23, 1972. Mobility fights back. Shell casings after a single day on the Western Front, France, 1916. The economy of blood and brass. A British veteran hoists 2 men on a barbell, 1941. Strength that would humble most gyms today. A Constantinople entrepreneur rents chairs he carries on his back, 1920. Comfort by the minute for 10 cents. Albert Einstein lectures at a museum for African Americans, 1946. Mind over prejudice. An oilman turned showman keeps a pet lioness named Blondie, 1955. Domesticity with teeth. Louis Armstrong serenades his wife by the Sphinx, January 28, 1961. Jazz against the eternity of stone. A Vietnam hospital ward, 1970. Hard days, drop by drop, hope still present. The SS Normandy burns and capsizes during conversion, 1942. Maritime glory with a tragic turn. A gymnast father and amateur boxer shows off to his daughter, Melbourne, circa 1940s. Parenthood as performance. Antenna installation atop the World Trade Center, 1979, work for those with iron nerves. Drying trousers after a hurricane, Boston, 1938, laundry as disaster recovery. A six-seater bicycle racing a train, 1896, teamwork with a whiff of steampunk. Olga Kahan carves a fairy and a gnome for 3 years in Melbourne. Small magic, rooted in daily life. Hastings fishermen, 1910, boats, nets, and weathered faces learned from the sea. Venlo, Netherlands, February 10th, 1984, an entire shopping street underwater. Charlie Chaplin and Jackie Coogan on the kid set, 1921, the silent era's heartbeat at work. The 8th annual Diaper Derby at a North Jersey amusement park, 1946, racing before walking. A dad helps his son feed a giraffe, 1950, Good Morning for the Family and the Tall Guest. Clint Eastwood with a 1958 Jaguar, 1960, the stare already belonged on a billboard. The car just kept up with it. Style arrived years before the director's chair. Attilio Gatti in a gorilla, 1930, a colonial encounter with the varnish stripped away, unsettlingly honest. The jungle keeps its secrets. Newborn Princess Elizabeth II with her parents, April 1926. Royal history beginning in a quiet room. Naomi Campbell on Red Square, 1995. A supermodel in Moscow, a frame that feels storyboarded. A mother stands proudly with her 8 sons, each a veteran. A single frame where family loyalty and national duty meet. Chuck Norris with Soviet karate practitioners, 1990. Skill outruns politics. Sport lays the bridge. Chernobyl, 1986. The cleanup in motion, proof that catastrophe doesn't end with the blast. Jane Mansfield in a supermarket, Las Vegas, 1959. Glamour wanders the aisles, Hollywood between the price tags. The World Trade Center collapses, September 11th, 2001. America sees the unthinkable lave. Joe Biden in 1968. Young, ambitious, the future 46th president not yet in focus. A gas station boycott of Ladas until the USSR leaves Afghanistan. Politics written on the pumps. Marilyn Monroe in a playful lift, early 1950s. Spontaneity over gloss. Star power with the shine dialed down. Mr. Rogers, 1969, inviting Officer Clemens to share a pool on live TV. Segregation challenged by simple grace. Yuri Gagarin with Komsomolskaya Pravda, 1961, a headline shared in real time by the whole planet. Vesuvius erupts under Allied occupation, March 18, 1944, a wartime volcano that hasn't spoken since. Warsaw, November 1946, a portrait staged to hide World War II ruins. Backgrounds can lie, the eyes rarely do. A wounded Japanese child with an American pilot, Saipan, 1944, war reduced to 2 human beings. Michelle Pfeiffer, 1980s, the Polish of the era distilled into one face. Lovers in the Tuileries under Nazi occupation, 1944. Intimacy as quiet resistance. The Hugo brothers, France, 1910. Alpine giants with their family, Baptiste at 2.31 meters, Antoine at 2.26 meters. September 3rd, 1967. Sweden flips from left to right-hand traffic. A nation changes lanes in one day. Hollywood's golden age. 1940s Italy. Dresses and hats, pragmatism with poise, framed like a lost reel. Nirvana's first band photo, 1988. History before it knows its own name. This is how swimming lessons looked back then. No fuss, unforgettable. A sharecropper's home lesson in numbers and letters. Louisiana, 1937. Poverty teaching persistence. Monica Bellucci, 1990. Italy distilled to one silhouette. Soft light right before the rocket takes off. Benedictine nuns splashing in the Pacific. Greyland, 1960. Habit meets holiday. Two eras bump into each other. Curiosity leaking through the Iron Curtain. Conjoined twins from the Book of Predictions. Zohar Studios, Lost Years, a mythic New York portrait world born from an 1850s immigrant's lens. A giraffe feeder, circa 1950s. Circus strongman Paul Ramos and his young sons offer a snack at the London Zoo. Finnish World War II, camouflage, 1941. Branches become shelter against Russian eyes. Cobble's stylish youth, mid-1970s, denim and easy smiles, a chapter many forgot before the edits arrived. Workers ferried to a 30-story site on New York's waterfront. 1890, Gravity is the first foreman. Charles Traub, 1980. Punchy color, direct gaze, the street playing itself like theater. Tubing on Arizona Salt River, 1980. Sun, water, and the invention of doing nothing well. Georges Dantes, 1860. Severe lines, unwavering eyes, discipline on the surface. A private choice that kept echoing. A painter dangles from the Eiffel Tower, early 1900s. Maintenance at altitude. First time in his arms, 1940. A sailor and a child by the harbor. Ordinary life stealing a minute from the war. A boy reads A History of London amid a bombed-out bookshop. October 8th, 1940. Knowledge survives the raid. A Boy with Princess Diana, 1989. Plain sincerity, she met it and mirrored it. Wrestlers and a Minor Father, 1973. Grease paint meets coal dust. Inheritance and independence sharing one frame. Titanic in dry dock, 1911. Grandeur pause between blueprint and fate. Girl at a Telephone, United Kingdom, 1890. Connection as a luxury. Progress ringing first in the homes of the wealthy. The Australian Antarctic Expedition, 1913. Nothing romantic about white horizons when the wind decides otherwise. Warsaw, 1944. A mirror in the rubble, poise, surviving what the city could not. Engineer Bill English tests the first mouse and keyboard combo. 1967. Hands learn a new language. A soup kitchen in Washington, 1935, the only hot meal for many during the Depression. A punk with a wreath for Diana, 1997. For a moment, grief erased subcultures and status. Early 1900s, knife grinders lying prone to spare their backs, dogs warming their feet, industry with a touch of kindness. A shoe bill in a nurse's bath, Berlin, 1945. Zoo animals in apartments. War's quiet absurdities can be the hardest to shake. Frida Kahlo, 1950. Painting through pain. Strength born on canvas. A mother carries her children in a bucket on her head. 1900s Japan. Strength and ingenuity in a single balancing act. Victorian arm prosthesis with jointed fingers. Engineering courage arriving sooner than comfort. Nurses training, 1942. Between home and front, rehearsals that save lives. A little girl in a homemade car, Harlem, 1947. Imagination outruns the street. Ipatiev house demolished Sverdlovsk, September 16th, 1977. One order that kept arguments burning for years. In the 1950s, cigarettes were sold as healthy. One patient even buys a pack from his hospital bed. July 25th, 1946. A German soldier with his German Shepherd. 1940s, loyalty in uniform. Fortifying the Berlin Wall, 1961. Barbed wire crowned the concrete. Division becoming a daily habit. Harley-Davidson police tow a mobile jail cell, 1921. Law enforcement on 2 wheels and 1 cage. The Beatles with Doctors on Standby, USA, 1964. Music that literally took people off their feet. Priests play football, Madrid Seminary, 1959. Joy in cassocks. A DC-4 over Manhattan, 1939. Skyways stitched to a city grid. Messerschmitt, 1954. From fighters to 3-wheelers, the factory retools, the future rewrites. Chinese archer, 1874. A tradition in full draw. How to move a circus elephant in the 1930s, very carefully and with a lot of rope. Titanic anchor chain worker, 1910. Human hand set against iron on a colossal scale. And now we move on to interesting facts about historical figures. Leonardo da Vinci wrote many of his notes in mirror script, likely to keep ideas private and to avoid smudging as a left-hander. He sketched flying machines centuries before powered flight. His notebooks show a restless curiosity that spanned anatomy, optics, and hydraulics. Cleopatra VII was Macedonian Greek, ruling Egypt through the Ptolemaic line. She reportedly spoke several languages and negotiated directly with foreign powers. Her political acumen rivaled that of Rome's greatest statesmen. Socrates left no writings. His ideas survived through students like Plato and Xenophon. He challenged Athenians with probing questions that exposed assumptions. Condemned for impiety and corrupting youth, he accepted his sentence calmly. Queen Elizabeth I balanced rival powers while fostering exploration and the arts. The Elizabethan era saw Shakespeare's rise and England's naval assertiveness. Remaining unmarried, she crafted an image of national motherhood. Napoleon Bonaparte fused speed, massed artillery, and flexible corps into a new way of war. He spread the Napoleonic Code, emphasizing civil equality and property rights. Despite defeat, His administrative reforms outlived his empire. The earliest recorded women's athletics were the Heraean Games in ancient Olympia, dedicated to Hera. Young women ran foot races in a shortened stadium, wearing a distinctive tunic. It was a rare sanctioned arena for female competition in Greece. Thank you for watching, have a great day, don't forget history, and make sure to subscribe to the channel.